Hey gang, Twev1701 here. Over the past weekend, I actually went to the first annual Too Many Games Game Swap in Blue Bell, Pennsylvania. I did go to Too Many Games Convention proper in June, and this is the first year they were holding a game swap, which was kind of a Too Many Games mini. It was about half the vendors that are normally there. There really weren't any guests. You were just there to pick up some games. And took my friend Jerry there with me, who couldn't make it to Too Many Games in June. And we did just that. We picked up some games. So since I never did a pickup video like I said I was going to from Too Many Games in June, I figured I'd do a pickup video for what I picked up on Saturday at the Too Many Games Game Swap. So, what did I pick up? Well, I'm still working on my Dreamcast collection. I know I probably will never get a full, complete collection. I'm one title away from the launch titles. And when I go to these places or my local used game stores, I always try to pick up either games I used to have that I don't have anymore, or what I call filler games, which are games that are quite common, that are really cheap, that will just pad out my collection should I choose down the line to actually do a full, complete collection. So what did I pick up for the Dreamcast? Well, picked up a few, mostly fillers actually. There was one out of this that was kind of on my radar. To these shows I always go with a wish list. None of these were on my wish list though. So the first one was WWF Attitude. Again, it's technically a sports game, so these are actually pretty inexpensive. And it was in great condition, so this was only a few bucks, so ended up picking that up. Another filler title, which normally I probably wouldn't have bought this, except I did a bundle with Jerry to get a game he wanted, which is 102 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue. So, don't know what this is like. Don't know if I'll ever actually pop it in the Dreamcast, but I got the bundle down enough to get Jerry the game that he wanted at the price he wanted, so it was worth it. This next one I have not seen in the wild. I've heard good things about it. Not technically a sports title, but it was cheap enough for filler, which is Looney Tunes Space Race. I've heard some good things about this. Like I said, I've never seen it in the wild locally, so this was one I just kind of had to pick up. This next one, I haven't seen a complete copy here locally, and it was very cheap. And the reason it was cheap, there's a slight damage to it. So, and that one is Test Drive 6. The disc is fine, but if you look right here, that's actually not the case. The manual is damaged. Ended up getting this for like $3. And for me, $3 to have a complete copy is great, because down the road, I could find another copy for a couple bucks and then either keep this for a trade or throw it up on eBay. This next game, Frogger 2 Swampy's Revenge, I've seen this again in the wild, filler title. This just happened to be at the same vendor table where I did a huge bundle between Dreamcast games, Xbox games, PS2 games. So I ended up having this thrown into the pile to try to get the price down. So I ended up getting everything at an excellent price. So, and that's another tip. If you go to these conventions, a lot of times the more games you buy off of the single vendor, the lower they're willing to lower the price and work with you on the price. So that's a pro tip right there. If you see a bunch of games you want from a single vendor, especially if you're paying cash, they will definitely work with you. Now here's a game that was on my radar, not on my wish list, which was Tomb Raider Chronicles. The reason being is I have Tomb Raider Revelations, so this is the bookend to the Tomb Raider collection, which is nice to have. I'm not the biggest Tomb Raider fan, but I do like when I'm collecting for a system to complete a title. So you have all the titles of that same franchise in there, so that's nice. And the last Dreamcast game I picked up has actually been on my radar on the side because I've never seen a copy locally, which is an RPG called Time Stalkers. So I remember this back in the day. I really liked the artwork in it. I never played it, but I've always kind of wanted to. So I found this. This was actually the first game I bought when we walked into the expo, and it was so cheaply priced compared to what it normally goes for, is I didn't even negotiate with the guy. I literally handed him the money and walked away after that. Now, at Too Many Games, I actually started a few different collections. I actually bought my very first N64. Well, actually, I shouldn't say I bought my second N64. Got rid of mine years ago. So I bought an N64 and started an N64 collection. Couple games on my radar. Most of them I actually picked up in June. However, there was one game they didn't have in June that I picked up. And that is Pilot Wings 64. Now, huge fan of Pilot Wings for the Super Nintendo. Absolutely one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. I have never played Pilot Wings 64. I have seen video online of Pilot Wings 64. It looks good. So this is one of these games that I really can't wait to throw into the Nintendo 64 and try out. And that comes close to completing my N64 collection. I don't need a big N64 collection, just certain titles, and I think there's 3 or 4 more that I want to get. Some I did see there, but people wanted too high of a price. Now here comes this 2 games that I bought that I don't need, but I simply bought because I wanted them and for nostalgia's sake, which are 2 NES games. Reason I don't buy a lot of NES games is, let's be honest, you can emulate them. I think I have an emulator on almost everything I own that can play Nintendo games. However, there is a franchise that I'm a huge fan of, which is Castlevania, and I try to get as many Castlevania games as I can. And it came to my attention when I built this shelf behind me and I brought out all my N64 games and lined them up. I only own Castlevania 3 Dracula's Castle. So I had to pick up the first 2. Now, the one bad thing is on the Simon's Quest, there's a little bit of marker there, which is not a big deal. I just need to get a magic eraser and take that off. I just haven't done it yet. But the reason I got this was because they lowered the price because of that, but the label is in absolute pristine condition compared to the other copies that I saw there. So that is pretty much a flawless label. The original Castlevania has a slight flaw in the label, actually right up top here. I don't know if it'll show up on camera. It's like a little crease, little dimple there. But got both of these games, so now my Castlevania collection for the NES is complete. Another new collection I started up at Too Many Games in June was my Xbox collection. So there are a certain Xbox games that I was looking for. Some I found, some I didn't, and there were a few surprises that I never heard of. One of the surprises was this one here, which is Evil Dead Regeneration. Honestly, never even heard of the game, and I'm a huge Evil Dead fan, so this was shocking to me that I had never heard this. So this has Bruce Campbell doing the voice of Ash and Ted Raimi doing the voice of the sidekick, which is that little guy right there. And again, this was so cheap that I could not pass up an Evil Dead game for that. This game I knew about back in the day, of course. It was a big title for Xbox Live. However, back when I had my Xbox, I did not have Xbox Live because I was on dial-up. But this game I have heard nothing but good things about, which is Crimson Skies. It was huge back in the day, but I never bought it because I couldn't play online, and I couldn't see spending the $50 just for the single-player campaign, even though online was where it's at. So, flash forward, 15 years later, 16 years later, and I picked it up for pennies on the dollar because you can't play on Xbox Live anymore because the original Xbox does not work anymore online. The next one is a game I think I've purchased 3 or 4 times for different systems and don't have anymore. And this was always one of my favorite Xbox games, which is Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Classic game, awesome mechanics, really cool concept. This, I guarantee, I will definitely be playing through again. It's just a matter of finding enough time to throw it in the Xbox. And this game, I wanted back in the day, but never bought it for financial reasons. I just couldn't afford it, or money went someplace else, which was Ninja Gaiden Black. Supposedly, I did play a demo, so I can't say supposedly, but it is an excellent hack and slash game. Supposedly, this was the best Ninja Gaiden game of the generation. And again, this was part of the huge bundle that I did with a vendor, so I practically got this for free, and I could not pass that up. Another big system that I'm looking for is the PS2. I've been in the process of recollecting all my old PS2 games from back in the day, and I am coming pretty darn close. So one of the games I picked up is Gauntlet Dark Legacy. I actually never owned a retail copy of this. I had a burned copy back in the day with my fat PS2 with the Game Shark, and absolutely loved it. Even though I have Gauntlet Legends for the Dreamcast, to me this is probably my favorite Gauntlet game. So I'm glad I finally have this in the library. Another game that I never owned for the PS2, but I had it for the PC, is Oni. Excellent brawler. It's really kind of hard to describe. It's kind of like an anime brawler, but it's really fun. It was really hard to play on the PC because back then at the time I did not have a controller, so I had to use the keyboard. And you just can't do a brawler with a keyboard. It's not a good thing to do. So look forward to using that on the PlayStation 2 controller. The last game I picked up was one that's been on my radar for quite a while. Actually, it may have been since Too Many Games. I keep bringing that up, but I bought a ton of games then. Which is Castlevania Curse of Darkness. Now you're probably going to ask me why Castlevania Curse of Darkness. Because I bought it a long time ago when I was starting my Xbox collection again. Well, the whole reason being is after I started playing this, I found out that the PS2 version, if you start the game with a save file from Castlevania Lament of Innocence, you actually get extra items in this game, as long as you use the same memory card. So for me, even though I was playing it on the Xbox, I wanted the PS2 copy, since I have Lament of Innocence, and I could do that. So to me, that was a big pickup. This one was probably the game I paid the most for. It's not pricey, but it is a little hard to find. And then last, I picked up some PS1 games to fill out my collection. One of the games I needed to replace that I don't have from back in the day, the original Crash Bandicoot. Even though this should be a staple title of any PS1 library, I don't have my copy anymore. So, found this little beauty, and no, I'm not one of these people that care about, it's an original black game or black label versus a greatest hits. There are some games I care about, but this is Crash. This is throw it in, have some fun, and be done with it. This next game, I was surprised because I thought I bought it in June at Too Many Games, and apparently I didn't, which is Tekken 2. I picked up the original Tekken and Tekken 3, and I was going to complete my Tekken collection with that for the PS1, because obviously there was only 3 games, and I could have swore I bought this. And when I came home, I searched everywhere for it, and either I lost it somewhere or I didn't buy it, so I bought it, and I have it now. And the last PS1 game, and the last game I picked up, last game I picked up at the convention, is one that's been on my radar for quite a while. I never could find it in the wild here where I live, and it's hard to find complete, which is Toe Ball number 1. It's a fighter. However, back in the day, this came with the Final Fantasy VII demo. That's what's hard to find to make it complete. And this is complete with the Final Fantasy VII demo. So you have the demo disc right there, obviously the instruction manual, and in the back is the actual game. Now the game itself is actually very good, but I wanted a complete copy because of the demo disc. So I was very happy to find this, and this is something that, again, there's about 3 other games that are kind of high up there on my list that I want to replace, but this was in the top 5 of games that I needed to pick up. So that's it. That's my Too Many Games pickup for games. I did pick up one accessory, which was a Dreamcast Rumble Pack for I don't know, $2-3 that a guy just had in a box. You could never have too many of those. So the net had a great time. Jerry had a great time. We are planning on obviously going back to Too Many Games proper. June, the June 26th, 27th, and 28th of 2020. Already have a hotel room booked. As soon as tickets on sale, buy my weekend pass and go for Saturday and Sunday. And start completing some of these collections. The collection I'm closest to completing, even though I'm not going for a complete collection, is my Dreamcast. I'm at 34% of all the games ever made. So that puts me at like 100 and some. I think I have 101 out of 298, I believe, were released in North America. And I do have some imports. They actually had quite a few import Dreamcast games, but I stayed away from those because I'm mostly focusing right now on domestic. So let me know if you like these kind of videos. I've never really done pickup videos before. What I could do is when I'm hunting at my local shops, I can put them aside and I could do a local pickups video once I get enough games. So let me know if you like this. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Give me a thumbs down if you hate it. Subscribe, because I'm going to start doing a lot more content now that we're coming into the winter months and I have a lot more time on my hands. I'm hoping to do a lot of streaming on Twitch this winter. Also, leave a comment down below if you liked it, if you didn't like it. If you didn't like it, tell me what you didn't like about it. If you liked it, tell me what you liked about it. And maybe share some stories. I mean, do you have memories of Towball #1? Do you love playing Time Stalkers? I mean, let me know if maybe some of these are your favorite games. Also, follow me on Twitter. I'm at Twev1701 on Twitter. And same thing on Instagram, at Twev1701. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I want to thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.